If you're into Toyota mods, then first of all, you found the right channel to subscribe to, and also you've probably heard the word portals a lot over the past 6 months because it is the latest craze, and for good reason too. Portals have not been available widely for Toyotas at all until mid-2023, and now I believe I was the 4th Tacoma in the world to have portals, and I've got about 5,000 miles of daily driving on them alone. So I wanted to make a video about one of the most commonly asked questions, which is, what's it like to daily drive on portals in a Tacoma? I have Werewolf portals on here. We'll also cover a little bit about 74 weld portals. Just to put it out there in the beginning, can you daily drive on portals? Absolutely. You have the benefits of something that normally would take a solid axle swap in the past, but on an independent front suspension vehicle, making it more daily driver friendly. 74 weld portals are definitely more daily driver friendly because they're not as wide and they're not as tall, and they don't have as deep of a gear ratio, so your RPMs won't be as high on the highway. I went with Werewolf portals. I wanted my truck to be bigger. I wanted to run 40s, and I like being deeper in my gears. So let's get into it, because this is kind of an extreme case. I'm on the Camberg Slapper +2 long travel kit. I'm on 40-inch Maxxis tires, and I'm re-geared to 529s on top of the 35% gear reduction that I have at the hubs. So this is really an extreme case of daily driving on portals. A couple of the things we had to do in order to make this functional on 40s was a firewall tub, which means we're cutting out the firewall literally to make room, because my scrub radius when I turn is a lot different than stock. I have a cab mount relocate on here too from DRT Fab, and we have a new steering rack because turning 40s is hard, especially when you have all this leverage so far out. There's a Land Cruiser 200 series steering rack in my truck, and I daily drive this every single day. It's my to and from work. It is my adventure rig. It is my wheeling rig, and I love it. I have some nuances that I want you to be aware of. Anytime you modify a vehicle, you're going to have things that are different. It's not going to drive the same as it did when it was stock. It's going to be more functional in a lot of ways, and then the nuances are just little things that you need to be aware of. So this video is more for transparency's sake than anything. I think a lot of manufacturers put out aftermarket products and they want you to see all sunshine and rainbows, and that's it. It's our job at Mountain Yotas as a shop to be transparent with customers, to set expectations the right way, and that's what this video is ultimately for. Are portals worth it? 100%. I have zero hesitation. If you want your truck to have an insane amount of ground clearance, run huge tires, and be crazy functional off-road, portals are great. And the real big benefit here is that it's maintaining independent front suspension, so you can still go 85 on the highway. You can still travel the country in these. My buddy Robert with Wolfworks Portals, who's also a Werewolf dealer, he drove from Arizona like right away to Colorado as soon as he had portals on to come out to Expo. You just have some more maintenance, and you have a couple of things that you need to be aware of. So let's talk about it. Number one, because you're likely going to want to upgrade your steering rack, your steering is going to feel a little bit different. It's a little bit tighter. Chances are you're going to Heims and not ball joints. Heims are just stiffer in nature. The reason they're stiffer is because they're a lot stronger. It's a Uniball instead of a gushy ball joint. Ball joints would break like crazy on this if you wheeled it at all. So Heims, big benefit, strength. The other side of that is that it's not like as comfortable to steer as a normal steering rack would be, but it's almost a necessity, especially when you're running 40s. But I wouldn't go lower than 37s, honestly, on a portal kit, and it's just part of the game. I have an extreme case, again, because I'm at a +2 and I'm running 40s. It's just a lot to steer. It feels really strong, but it's just not as, let's say, easy to turn the steering wheel, but it's nothing that I'm concerned about. It's nothing that you can't get used to really quickly. RPMs on the highway, it's a huge thing when you're talking about portals, because everybody's concerned about if you can actually drive on the highway, even with re-gears. Now, I'm on 529s, so my re-gear was already done and maxed out because I was on 37s before I even went to portals. I haven't changed that. I'm still running Werewolf portals with 529s and 40s. So let's take it on the highway right now. I will show you in real time what RPMs I'm at and what speed I'm at on 529s, Werewolf portals, and 40s. It's not bad. That's not a deal breaker to me. I'm not trying to go higher than 75, 80 miles an hour anyways in a huge truck. That is plenty fast to me. If you need to go faster than that, don't build a gigantic truck for off-roading purposes. That leads directly into a huge question, which is miles per gallon. I've been averaging about 12 miles per gallon on portals and 40s. That isn't close to where it is stock, but you know, it's pretty similar to like going to 35s, 36, 37 in there. And I don't have a problem with it. I'm not super concerned about my miles per gallon. This is a big truck. If you're really concerned about gas mileage, guys, don't start modding a Tacoma. It's not gonna get great gas mileage ever. You can tune them, you can do all sorts of stuff to them. You're really never gonna get great gas mileage, period. I'm sorry, hate to break it to you. One thing I think is really important to mention about dailying on portals is the fact that you don't have to max out your preload on your coilovers. If you've done this before, you realize how stiff your suspension feels. If you're trying to run 35s, you got to max out that preload. Because of the fact that the lift comes from the hub itself, in this case about 6 inches from Werewolf, I don't have to max out my preload on my shocks, so my shocks feel nice and gushy. It is a plush ride. Even this big feels nice and plush. Some of that comes from the fact that I'm running 40, so I have a lot of rubber, I have a lot of air, but the fact that I don't have to preload the heck out of these coilovers helps a ton too. Another thing you're definitely going to want to consider when you get this big of tires on your truck and more torque is stopping power. I would strongly recommend at least going to a power brake D-line kit. Portals come with a rear disc conversion, whether you go with Werewolf or you go with 74 weld. I went with the 6-piston calipers, the big brake kit from Power Brakes. It's a must. You should increase your braking power as you increase your truck size, weight, and power. Let's talk about maintenance. You do have gearboxes now on all 4 corners at the hubs. So you are going to have to change your gear oil every 5,000 miles at the hubs. That's about $100 or so every 5,000 miles. The other maintenance thing is that you're much wider. I'm even on this ADV fiberglass wide body kit and my tires stick out pretty well past it, even though I'm on a positive 25 offset wheel. I kick stuff up all over my truck all the time. You gotta wash your truck more. It's just part of it, especially in Colorado. We get snow, all sorts of nasty stuff all the time, and I find myself being at the car wash a little bit more than I used to. Final thoughts, if you have $20,000 to spend on modifying your Tacoma, you should do portals. It's worth every penny to me. I think that it is the most extreme mod you can do. So the best bang for your buck as far as performance goes, as far as functionality goes, and you can still daily drive something, and it really is just a next level modification. This is something that you'd really only want to spend the money if you're actually going to use it, off-roading especially. That's where this is really going to shine. But as a daily driver, we all know that people love Toyotas because they're so daily driver friendly. It's like a tool and a toy. They're undeniably reliable all the time. They're great looking. The aftermarket support's fantastic. And it keeps all those things. You can still daily drive, but then this thing's really just a crazy off-road machine at this point. So is it worth it? Yes. Daily driving, it's comfortable. It feels ridiculously good. I was shocked at how daily driver friendly it is. It's wide. There's some nuances that you have to consider. It's a little bit different. There's a little bit more maintenance, but same as every other mod on the market. Whenever you start modifying, you're going to have a little bit more to do, a little bit more to consider, but the functionality needs to outweigh that stuff. And in this case, portals do just that. I can't recommend them enough. Stay tuned. We're going to have a ton of action on portals. We have like 5 vehicles on portals now, so there's a lot of off-roading to come. Stay tuned, subscribe. If you have any questions, hit us up, info@mountainyotas.com. Find us on Instagram @MTNYotas. And hey, thanks for tuning in. Peace.